Hey, y'all, I am Kimberly Jurgen, and I am facilitating our chat today. And I want to thank you all for joining us. Um, Now, who here has ever found coffee to be bitter? Anybody? Lots of coffee drinkers, bitter. Yes, awesome. You are my people. All right. Who has a knack for remembering faces?
Oh, I remember faces so fast.
Yeah, me, not at all. I'll see y'all in a couple of weeks on the street, and I will not be able to connect to this moment. Well, it might interest you to know that those are two traits that are influenced by your genetic makeup. Your genes set that up for you. And these markers, they're not only going to shape our likes and our dislikes, but it's also how we interact with the world, both professionally and personally. So at Genetic Edge Coaching, we explore how these genetic factors can guide your career choices and your personal development. And by understanding the genetic basis of your traits, we help our clients to align their professional lives to better suit their natural inclinations. And this is going to lead to more satisfaction and success. Today, we're going to talk about that, and you're going to have a chance to ask us anything. You'll also have a chance to really dive deep into how you can apply this knowledge into your own life. But first, let's quickly meet the Genetic Edge coaching team. Cara, you are unmuted, so let's start with you.
Oh, hi guys. So everyone here knows me. That's convenient. Cara Jean, I'm an executive coach. I have been living in this epigenetics of leadership space for years. And when I got together with these women, we were working with a geneticist and got to dive into the science of it. And it was unlike any other deep, I mean, y'all know I love a good rabbit hole, but this was different. This was immediately practical, immediately applicable, and so we also know that I'm a big fan of both woo-woo and the corporate space. Like I'm like the blend of the two. And this did that. It was all of the science that explains all the woo-woo stuff, the power of positive thinking, the choosing what you nurture, the two wolves in your mind, which one wins, the one you feed, because epigenetics and behavioral genetics. And I was in. From that point on, I was like, okay, what are we going to do with this information? We have to get it to the world. And here we are.
Thank you so much, Cara. Madhurima.
Well, thank you so much, Kimberly and Cara. Kimberly, I did not know that coffee was, the bitterness of coffee was something that's connected to a genetic trait. We learn so many new things every single time we get together, which is what is fun about this space. Hello, everyone. I am Madhurima. I am a global stress management facilitator who loves to support multi-passionate, ambitious dreamers in managing their stress and preventing burnout. And I do that by making it fun. And what really excited me about this is there's so much research that's already been done about resiliency to stress and how you actually have genes that help you be a bit more resilient, and you have so many different genes that are affecting your resiliency to genes. It's once again a rabbit hole, kind of similar to Cara. Once I figured it out, I was like, I'm in there, I'm ready to go, let's go. I was logged in and ready. And that is what genuinely brought me into the space. But the more I studied, the more I learned, the more exciting it got. And yeah, I'm really excited to keep exploring all of these amazing things with you all, but also talk about how we can nurture. I actually put in a fun story about the coffee thing. Like, I used to watch X-Files so much with my dad, and they used to always drink this bitter ass coffee because they would be like, there would be simply hot water and coffee, and I would be like, isn't that going to be bitter though? And I tried it, it was bitter. But I was like, let me honor the show because that's how I am. Tried it, hated it, kept trying it, got used to it, and now it's my go-to drink. So I literally nurtured my genes to be like, we're gonna love this. We're gonna make ourselves love this, and now I love it. So yeah, I absolutely love that story and the connection to it. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm gonna keep talking, so I'm gonna hand over the mic back to Kimberly so that she can guide us.
Vicky, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Vicky Stingle. I'm a healthcare trainer. I've got lots of background in the science world and healthcare and wellness. And yeah, bringing the woo-woo together, as Cara Jean said, and the science just excites me. And I'm a perfectionist by I guess how I'm wired, and trying to figure all that out and stuff. So trying to see how to enhance that and use that to a benefit. So that was something that excited me too. And being with these women and learning from the geneticists that we spoke with just excited me more to be part of this group and to learn more and to help everybody else out there to learn more about their traits and to enjoy life a lot more to the fullest.
Thank you so much, Vicky. And I'm Kimberly Jurgen. I am a neurospicy introvert. I am in Los Angeles, California. I am an actor and an author, and I am a radical curiosity coach. So my entire being is all about investing in curiosity, exploring more, asking questions, seeing every day as an adventure. And so been a science nerd pretty much all my life, from watching Star Trek with my brother when we were both knee high to a grasshopper, all the way up through going into college and studying biology and physics and getting into the theoretical as well as the known. And that's one of the things that's so exciting to me about what is happening now, because it is taking the woo and the new, because it's all this new science that is happening that is validating and supporting what intuitives have understood for so long. So I'm so excited, especially to work with these women. And so let's dive in and talk a little bit about what's going on. So let's start with exactly what behavioral genetics is. Who would like to break that down for us?
I'm gonna give it to Cara because she's so dope at this. Let's go.
Yes. So behavioral genetics is quite simply the study of how your behaviors are impacted by your genetics. And it's not just the nature-nurture conversation we all experienced in 8th grade science that said, hey, you're born this, you have your hair color and your skin color and your size thanks to your parents. And then also turns out like how you live affects that. We're not really clear on how, but we've been studying it since the early 1900s, and we're pretty confident that like twins in different households grow up differently. So that's a thing. Fast forward 100 years. And now we have science that really breaks it down, that really says, look, it's not nature versus nurture. It never has been. It's nature and what you nurture. And here's how. Now, currently, most of the conversation in this space around genetics is based on illness. And that's where this group came in and to help start to flip that script. So now we're talking about the wellness side of it. So rather than just using your genetic understanding of how you are and what you can do to impact cancer and disabilities and the neurospiciness of it, there is a positive side. There is that wellness side, and that leans into what do you nurture in your nature to make your life easier, and that's what behavioral genetics is.
Excellent. And the kind of stuff that science is discovering is, so I talked earlier about those bitterness receptors. So if you hate broccoli or Brussels sprouts or coffee,
Cilantro.
that's in your DNA. If you are a morning person or an evening person, that is in your DNA. When you work out, do you prefer endurance activities or are you more strength-oriented sports, what you're drawn to? DNA. Even romantic relationships and how someone adjusts to marriage, they are affected by several genetic and epigenetic variants. So all of this comes down to who you are at the most basic level. Thank you, Cara Jean. That's awesome. So next, let's talk a little bit about what are some of the benefits of being in harmony with your behavioral genetics in both your professional and your personal life. Madhurima?
Sure. So I think one of the biggest things that comes to mind is, one, I hate being put in a box. And I hate the fact that so many people are like, this is your DNA, this is what you're going to be, this is, it's set for life. But so many things have changed, even with the examples Cara Jean gave with, this is your hair color, this is what it's always going to be. This is your eye color, this is what it's going to be. We have contacts and we have dyes that change our colors and change our eyes. The other way around. But we have so many things and we are constantly learning. And so having an ability to understand what our genetics are, our behavioral genetics are, gives us an opportunity to really focus in on, if I nurture this specific trait, I can further boost up the way that I approach life. I can further boost up the way that I develop myself, both in my personal and professional lives, even with stress, which is something that I love talking about. You guys must have figured that out by now. If you have resiliency to stress, you can create things that help you grow forward and actually be extra resilient to stress. Even with charisma, there are so many concepts. The more understanding you have of what behavioral traits you have innately, the quicker you move, the quicker you approach. And it's never been about, hey, you can't reach this point. You absolutely can. You can absolutely reach wherever you want to reach in your life. The conversation that we are a part of is, how quickly can we get you there? How can we fast track that journey for you? That is what the space is all about. It's learning at the core who you are as an individual and how can you nurture it using coaching techniques and tools, and help you really focus in on those specific things that you want to nurture in your lifestyle to move.
Great. Thank you, Madhurima. You broke up a little bit, but I think we were able to gather what you said. So that was awesome. Wi-Fi is a mysterious thing. Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yet, one of the great things about understanding how to find that harmony is also, like, let's say you are not a morning person, but your entire life you've been told you are lazy. And so what are you going to, so you've tried to do all of these things because you're thinking that's what you're supposed to do. But when you learn how your DNA matches up to the things that you are drawn to, or the tendencies that you have, now you can create strategies with it, because you don't feel like you have been failing because you are naturally wanting to sleep in every morning. But it turns out that's your DNA. So you're not being lazy, grandma. So it's wonderful. So this is where knowledge truly is power. The more we know about ourselves, the more we can realize that I want to live in alignment with who I am. And if there are things that I want to nurture to become stronger, even though my nature doesn't have that as a priority, I can do that. But it's doing it in alignment and knowledge with, there's not something broken in you. It's just not the way that you were originally built. But we can learn and adapt, because human beings are amazing at that. But having that confidence in the beginning is such a stress reliever, to know that you're not doing anything wrong. Yeah. So I know as I've been talking about this with folks, I've been getting a lot of questions about how we differ from other things that are out there, personality tests and all these other things. So who would like to talk a little bit about how we are different? What is it that we do, and how our approach is unique? Cara.
Oh yeah, this is, well, so, like the Myers-Briggs and the DISC assessments and the stuff that John does, the coefficient stuff. We're not an assessment. That is not what we are doing with this. What we are doing is providing information. So we're not going to come in and have you hand us your DNA and then go line by line and work through. Would love for that. Also, the science isn't there yet, guys. We're really not. What it is an understanding of who you are. We're going to help lay the science out for you so that you can start to make some of those assessments of yourself with real, genuine knowledge and understanding. For me, what that looks different is like when you go get a DISC assessment, it kind of, you're like, well, I'm sometimes an I and sometimes a C, and depending on who's in the room, I might be a D today. And you jump around in all of those. And they're designed that way to kind of generalize so you can sort of understand self and sort of understand others. This is going to go really deep into the science. So as you start to hear this and you start to recognize that you have literally been alive on this planet for 3 generations. You were inside your grandmother because your mother was inside her and you were inside of your mother, right? And when you see that, when you see this path, this genetic path that you have already been on, you can start to see where the traumas and the dramas caused those activations in your genes. And it's not that it's therapeutic, but it is, right? You get, not that you're going to go in and pick those things apart, and we're definitely not going to therapy you. However, seeing those things and then making those recognitions, it's exactly what Kimberly was just talking about. Instead of beating ourselves up and abusing ourselves for so many failures, we get to meet ourselves with grace where we're at and then decide where we want to go from. And as a leadership space, that's why this inspired me so much, because unlike every other assessment out there, nobody's going to come and tell you. We're going to help you discover you with kindness and grace so that you can decide what do you want to do with that information now that you know this. So that did happen. And
I love that. And I would love to add a bit onto what you're saying, Cara, just piggybacking off of that, is we are essentially setting the foundation for you to work on, right? This is the foundation you grow from here. And that is what we are trying to do, because at the end of the day, behavioral genetics is oftentimes like, and I've shared this example a lot of times because it makes a lot of sense for people. It's the knob on the music player. If you used to have this really old timey wimey music players, you can increase the volume or decrease the volume. And it is all about that. Once you realize that you have a specific gene, that maybe it is something like charisma. For example, 2021 me would not be this outspoken and out here jumping around and doing all these crazy things. I was extremely introverted. I still am extremely introverted, but I also know that I'm charismatic. And so by nurturing that space, what I've done is shown up as my true self and whatever that looks like, and just been crazy and authentic and chaotic. And so that's what we are trying to do. We are figuring out, hey, by the way, I have the gene for charisma. Let's boost up the volume for that. Doesn't mean that I, as an introvert, can't be charismatic. It's I am an introvert and I am charismatic. So let's boost up the charismatic side of things. Like, yes, I can, after I'm done with social appearances, I can go back and just be a bear, not have anyone come into my space and just read my books all night long and be like, don't talk to me after this. But once again, you are figuring out what works really well for you and you're turning the knob at the highest for that, or putting it down low. It's not a clash. Once again, it's nature and nurture. And that's what we are trying to do here. So yeah. And also for anyone who's jumping out, we will be sharing the replay. So don't worry if you have a clash or anything along those lines. Stay here for as long as you can. Don't stress out. I will be sending you all the replay in the LinkedIn chat after the session is done. So don't freak out about it. I got you all. Let's go.
Awesome. That was great. Let's open the floor now for any questions that our guests may have. And this is an AUA, Ask Us Anything. Because literally we could talk about this all day long. And we have.
We have.
yeah. Yeah. Ask my husband, he'll roll his eyes for you.
So you are welcome to put questions into the chat, or if you want to unmic yourself, we would love to hear your questions. But either way, we are here for you to give you clarity on what's going on and what we are discovering and what we are most excited about.
Go, Bethany.
So I don't know that it's actually a question, but it's more like I have experienced almost all of the things you guys have talked about. The whole, guilting because my behavior was different from people around me, even my brothers. And how I had to develop this phrase, it's nice to re-meet you, because I'd come up to someone and say, hey, hi, nice to meet you. And they'd go, we met last week. And I'd go, well, then it's nice to re-meet you, because I'm terrible with faces. And there was a point recently, I used to always think that I was just slower than everybody else. I was a late bloomer, I just worked at a different pace. And my younger brother recently told me, no, you're more like a zoom and chill personality, where you'll have this moment, you'll learn something really, really fast, and then you'll just chill on a plateau for a while. And it's the chill point when people are like, come on, you got to keep going. You got to keep this. And I'm like, I actually cannot get myself to move again, because when I'm in a movement phase, I'm zooming like crazy cat mode zoomies. And so it's interesting. It's like, oh, that's kind of just how I am. And it's not just me saying that. It is there's actual science with that. So that's cool to know.
And I think as this science becomes more widely known, it's going to take the stigma out of the differences between us. So there won't be that kind of judgment, and that parents will realize you can't force that kid to do something if their genetic makeup says that's not how they are designed. So you can nurture something new into them, but you cannot push that
Round
square
peg, square hole.
peg into that round hole. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So hopefully, as more science evolves with this, that children won't have the experiences that you had, Bethany, that I had, that so many of us may have experienced. So the more that this becomes common knowledge, just how much better the world will be.
Yep. And I think that's what we're all trying to do here. We are all in the space of we have all had our individual messes, and we are trying to make a message out of it. That's what the work is all about. Because I relate so hard to that. Like, I'm a night owl. I have been a night owl all my life. And so many times I've heard people, even to this day, go, you are waking up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You're so lazy. I'm like, I was working till 8 in the morning. I am not lazy. Like, stop. Right? Because that's when my brain is fully activated, and I'm in this, let's push it out. Let's accomplish all the goals that we can and move through it. And that's what we're trying to figure out. Where does our power lie? How are we as individuals activated? When are we energized? When can we move? And when do we need to go back and just be in the spirit of like, let it come to me? And when again do we need to kind of push out and do all the things that we want to do? There are so many elements to this. There are so many craziness to this. And at the end of the day, our goal is, let's bring the awareness so that you can also take the action along with it and figure out how to move forward. That's the entire jam. So yeah.
Great. So we've got one more question, and it's in the chat from Ruth. And the question is, how did genes in, for example, a flower affect humans? Cara.
Oh, and I'm so excited because this is absolutely right in the middle of my Venn diagram of this information. So what we know about this so far is that absolutely everything is linked, and it really, you know, okay, you guys, I talk about stardust, that we're all literally made of the same things as stars. And this is like doubling down on that concept that we are so interwoven and interconnected that just the pollen of a flower can impact what's active in our DNA. The network, the mycelium network of mushrooms, they are tying directly to how our brains have adapted and grown. And perhaps that could be a huge part of why we turned human, right? As in our evolutionary growth from the less cognitive space to a more cognitive space came from that mapping, and it maps and mirrors a lot of the mycelium. So the conversation here, while the behavioral genetics shifted it from nature versus nurture to nature is what you nurture, the same thing. So it took, instead of survival of the fittest being who can like strong arm and hold their space the hardest, right? Which is the way that it was misinterpreted the first time. What we really have discovered in that is that it's actually survival of the fittest is who fits into their environment and thrives and grows themselves without depleting the environment. And literally, the plants react to our presence and it impacts our DNA. It's really freaking cool science.
And to piggyback on that too is the energy that's produced from all the environmental nature. You know, we go out, just as my background shows, you go out in nature and nature absorbs the negative energy and gives us positive energy. So that flower will give and produce positive energy for us too, because we are all energy and atom related, just like Cara Jean was emphasizing there.
Beautiful. Thank you both for that. Hopefully, Ruth, that has given you some clarity and some new ways to see it and think about the way that we interact with nature around us, actual nature around us, the environment. Yes. So today we've just explored a glimpse of how your genetic blueprint can influence your daily life and your professional choices. So I want you to just imagine the possibilities if you dive even deeper than what we've been able to cover today. So if what we've shared has sparked your curiosity, then you are going to love what comes next. We are excited to invite you to join us for Genetic Harmony. This course is an opportunity for you to transform your understanding of yourself and how you navigate the world. In Genetic Harmony, we don't just scratch the surface. We provide you with the tools and the insights to align your career, your relationships, and your personal growth with your genetic predispositions. So if you are ready to take the next step and truly unlock your potential, let's take this journey together. Enroll in Genetic Harmony, and let's turn insights into action. Madhurima is going to drop the link in the chat now. And today is the final day of the early bird offer. This is additional bonuses where you get to work one-on-one with us to help you begin to use your genetic traits to their fullest potential. And with Genetic Harmony, it's a 6 weeks or less, and you will uncover your unique genetic markers that influence your behaviors and your decisions, enabling you to align your career and your professional life with your natural strengths and tendencies. You will gain not just insights, but actionable strategies that foster an enhanced personal satisfaction, higher productivity, and a deeper sense of fulfillment in your professional and everyday lives. Not only will you discover and celebrate your unique genetic traits, we will explore how genetics influences your thinking and your learning. You'll understand how choices can influence your gene expression. And then in week 6, you will create a personal action plan that is based on all of those genetic insights. Because as Leonardo da Vinci said, knowing is not enough, we must apply. Being willing is not enough, we must do. So let's do this together.
Woohoo!
That was amazing. Thank you everyone for coming. This was wonderful.
Yes,
Yes.
and please feel free to reach out to us. Once again, I'll be sending you guys the replay. So if you have any questions at that point in time, send them to me and we will come together and we'll share those responses back to you. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for joining us. We're so happy you joined us. Thank you.
Thank you.